We do not have a candidate for 2027, statements of Honorable Mbadi, who was quoted speaking in his vernacular language in his backyard in Nyatike, said that the ODM party does not have a fit candidate for 2027 and there is no need to lie to each other. And in saying that, he called for the ODM supporters to support him and President Ruto in the 2027 arrangement as ODM gears to find who to front as a presidential candidate in 2032. So this is the People's Mirror. If you're joining us for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, please hit the subscribe button. We are a fairly small channel affiliated to the Civic Lens KE, and this is the reporting channel to the Civic Lens KE. So our growth is mutual. We'd really appreciate if you would hit the subscribe button to support in that mutual growth. Now let's go back to this main story that has had waves talking in the Kenyan political space. You see, ODM is divided, and that is not new. And ODM might not survive until 2030. That is also not new. But ODM officials somehow have hope that beyond 2027 now, they will have a 5-year period to put their house in order and bring a candidate in 2032. Whatever they are all ignoring is that they have an opportunity to put their house in order right now and come up with a candidate in 2027. Now, this belief that ODM can still put itself in order and front a candidate who have a negotiating power in 2027 might be a fallacy within the party, because whereas Oburu hopes that that is going to be the thing that he'll say when he gets to the table with whoever the ODM party will be negotiating with, that he will request for either the main seat or the deputy presidency seat, it seems like certain cohorts of the ODM party are speaking different languages. The cohort that's affiliated to Mbadi, Wandai, and the members of the ODM who are currently cabinet secretaries feel like this is the best arrangement that has put into consideration the interest of the ODM party. And so because they're in government and because they have also been in ODM for quite some time, they are telling the ODM members that this is the best arrangement that they have ever had. They're even going ahead, Mbadi himself goes ahead to say that there is no fit candidate in ODM right now to face Ruto in 2027. We do not know the real fact behind that statement, but we will detail with examples and you will decide whether or not ODM really has a fit team to face Ruto in 2027. Then there is the household of Baba. These individuals might be in the ODM party, but they are not the ODM party. If anything, their voices will be louder in who the supporters of the ODM people will support in 2027 than even the statements that the ODM leaders themselves will make. And the statements that Ida Orengo and the like is making is that they most likely are suing towards Kalonzo. So we ask before the People's Mirror, what is the future of ODM? Is it fit enough to front a candidate in 2027, or is it dead that it will not even survive up to the 2032 that they are keeping their terms to agree on who becomes the president? The truth is, Raila Odinga was ODM. And ODM was Raila Odinga. A lot of people supported the ODM party just because of Raila Odinga. And you cannot say the vice versa, that a lot of people supported Raila Odinga just because of ODM. No. A lot of people supported the party just because of Raila Odinga. And to some extent, you would want to agree with the cohort of Mbadi that now that Raila Odinga has been buried and dead, he has left a very big void that no individual can step into in a period of less than 18 months and front themselves as a candidate to beat an incumbent president who is serving for a first 5 term. So that's a statement that you cannot downplay. But it also does not mean that ODM cannot get into arrangement with other existing individuals and deliver win in 2027. What this particular CS are not telling you ODM supporters is that they do not want an opportunity to link with any other individual ahead of 2027 other than Ruto. And the reason why they do not want this disruption is because they're already in the Ruto government and they are having the benefits of it. Now, if a party exists, a party always have like a succession model. The person that succeeds the master might not be as fit as the master at that time, but the party needs to have certain structures to empower that person to become almost as fit as the master in the subsequent elections. So for ODM right now, they are talk should not really be who are we fronting in 2027 to take over Raila Odinga's position, or who are we fronting in 2027 to take over William Ruto's position as a president, but they should think of who are we grooming to be fit to be in this table. It's the approach that Oburu Odinga is taking actually. Who are we grooming that if we do not get the presidential position, at least we can get the deputy presidential position in this particular election ahead of the 2032 election. But it seems like the CSS are beyond the idea of grooming an individual. What they want is to support Ruto in 2027, with now Wandai saying that he'd rather betray the ODM spirit but support William Ruto and stay in the Ruto government. Mbadi asking his electorates to look at the developments that have come to them just because they have supported Ruto, and are telling them to stay in that particular area until post 2027. I understand that Kenyan politics runs alongside those lines. The development will come to you on how much you're affiliated to the people in power. But perhaps with the going of Raila Odinga needs also to be the going of these ideologies that a region will only benefit because he or she is in power and he or she comes from that particular region, to a point of where now development is a right of every Kenyan citizen, and every region will develop because there is an individual in power. And it will take some time for Kenyan mental shift to come from the point of our people are in power, let us develop, to a point of we have functioning power structures, let us develop. And it seems like the folks of Mbadi, Wandai and the likes are still rooted because of their understanding and experience that we cannot downplay in the Kenyan political scene. They have seen how politics play, and they understand, and they are rooted in the whole ideology that politics will only develop your region if your individual is having a louder voice in that particular power structure. But history tells us differently. We have a history of a gentleman called Tom Mboya who came from the Nyanza region, specifically from Rusinga Island, and who is celebrated as the man that held this country together in a time that there were no political parties until power was handed over to Kenyatta. But if you look at our region, you won't really know that that particular region is the region where Tom Mboya came from. So the analogy of being in power and then developments being equated to it is really a myth, because you can still be in power and developments do not go to your region. There are a lot of names you can mention in that spectrum. So Kenyans need to have a shift of mind, and the ODM members also need to have a shift of mind that we are not looking at this as our people, our development. No, we are looking at this as arrangement that works for the country, then our development. Of course, Mbadi has diffused that kind of thinking and has said, if you look at the arrangement within the united opposition right now, Mbadi says that they have strategically arranged themselves. And in that particular arrangement, Mbadi reminds us that there is no Luo in it. He also reminds the Luo nation that in that particular arrangement, Rigathi Gachagua has said that he's going to take 50% of whatever comes out of that government and give the rest to Kalonzo. This, Mbadi says, to portray the united opposition as a bad tribalistic camp that has divided the government before they walk into it, while he portrays the Ruto government as a space for the Kenyans to negotiate, or for Luos to have a room of negotiating because they're already inside it. Sounds convenient for their own political statements, but if you look at Kalonzo as a national leader, the Weaver support that has been friend of Raila and has put his interest secondary to Raila thrice, then you're looking at a leader who might really not think from a tribalistic lenses the way Mbadi is trying to portray it to the Luo people. So now what the ODM team is saying, without considering Babu Owino, without considering Mbadi himself, without considering Gladys Wanga, without considering Joho, without considering, name them, anyone from the party, they are saying they are not fit as a party to front a candidate in 2027. That statement is coming from the CS of Treasury, Mbadi, but they are fit to do so in 2032, and now they will have worked for Ruto to completion. The essence of that statement is support Ruto for his 2 term, let him complete, and we leave you in your own destitute to decide who takes over that particular position, whether ODM will be there or not. So this is a message to the Kenyans largely and ODM supporters that the decision of 2027 does not require that an ODM candidate be on the ballot, but it requires that you and me, as a solid voter who perhaps is not even a member of the ODM party, but you and I as solid Kenyan voters, go to that particular ballot box and decide on who becomes the president based on their own qualifications and based on their abilities to lead the nation forward, and not because of their middle name or their last name on that day on the ballot box.